everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 is a return to the series that first started back in 2001 on the GameCube. It's likely that if you've been around Nintendo games enough, you've at least seen the little plant creatures that are the Pikmin. Though despite this notoriety, the series has seen less success than some of Nintendo's other series. So that being said, let's get into what Pikmin 4 has to offer by first going over the gameplay. The gameplay of Pikmin 4 falls into the genre of action-adventure, while also being a real-time strategy game. Despite the strategy element, don't expect it to be like StarCraft. The strategy comes in the form of commanding your little army Pikmin followers, and using them to overcome the enemies in the game. Each Pikmin have different special abilities, 9 in total, ranging from the classic Fire-type Pikmin to the new Ice-type Pikmin. Using your army of Pikmin, you'll be exploring the planet and also delving into some dungeons, defeating a wide range of enemies along the way. But why are we exploring in the first place? Let's go over that by looking at the story of Pikmin 4. Unlike previous entries in the series, Pikmin 4's protagonist is a character that the player gets to create themselves. This is because you are a part of the Rescue Corps, and you have come to this planet in search of the previous game's protagonist, Olimar, after a distress signal was sent. However, you find yourself having to first save other members of the Rescue Corps who have crash-landed on the planet. And what planet is this? It is a planet called PNF 404, a planet wholly similar to Earth, minus the presence of humans. It is theorized that the planet is Earth far in the future, after some apocalyptic event that wiped out humans from existence, but nothing is actually confirmed in the storyline of the games. To summarize on Pikmin 4, the game is a wholesome experience with a mostly cheerful atmosphere. It is the series at its best so far, and has been receiving attention from fans old and new alike. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat? This is a game that, maybe if you don't have a Switch, it might not be enough motivation to just buy a Switch for just this game, but it is another good game to have on the Switch. So if, you've been looking at getting a Switch and you're looking at what's out there, this might be another one that you could be interested in playing. It is a pretty long one, around like 20 to 40 hours, depending on how much of the game you want to do after the storyline. But the entire time, at least in my opinion, it is a game that you can just put on, relax. Maybe you come back from a long day at work and maybe it's stressful because you're dealing with customer issues or something, and you get home and you just have a little bit of control over these little Pikmin guys and have some fun. The one thing that people have been complaining about with this game, though, is compared to the previous entries, there is technically a co-op mode, but
Yeah.
it's not really co-op in what you're thinking when you hear co-op, because in the previous games you would control another character entirely, and in this one the second person just controls a little cursor to throw pebbles at the enemies and stun them. But overall, I'd say it's a pretty good game. I think that personally I could see myself playing it again at another point in time, but for now, maybe not, but maybe in the future, a year or two from now.
Sounds like you're not. It sounds like you're not. I mean, just give it to the people straight. I mean, why are you lying? You fronting up. I mean, to be real with you, man, I mean, I'm so glad you referenced that point about the whole 2-player campaign, because that was something that was referenced in like Pikmin 3 Deluxe that a lot of people were celebrating, and they really thought that was an amazing addition to the game. And then Pikmin 4 comes out, and then they don't add it. I thought was a complete L in my opinion. This series for sure has been overlooked for years, but when it comes to this one particular installment, I think it's a one or done. They have a really hard time, I think, trying to figure out like a family-oriented, kind of casual gamers. Like in the past, it got a lot of flack because, you only had so much time to be able to complete the story, or like your supplies will start depleting. That was something that they got rid of, and I think that's because they wanted to try to get the youth involved. But when you have to constantly worry about, going back to school, walking away from the game for a couple weeks and then jumping in and go, man, I have to restart all over again. That's an L in my opinion. So they got rid of that, which was really, really cool. But, the maps do look massive, but I don't know, man. I think that's the problem with the Nintendo, which we've talked about previously, is that they're it's very cartoonish 24/7 with a lot of the IPs that get released. And so when they do these kind of style of games, you always expect more, not removing features that were celebrated. You would think that would add upon it. So in my opinion, this is a pause.
I mean, I get that, and it is definitely a trend with the Nintendo games. I think there's a certain level of polish compared to other games that come out. Considering the, game like this, it came out, there wasn't any issues. Considering it's
True.
2023 and there's games that come out that are just completely unplayable at day one. Like, they at least do a good job with that.
Very
You did
true.
bring up an interesting point about the time limit, though, and I think that's why it's maybe a pause for me as well. Actually, probably is a pause, I'd say, considering there's less of that replayability. Uh,
Yeah.
in this one, because there's no time limit, you can, go through the game and get basically everything you want done in your first playthrough. If you really want to, you can go and, do anything you want, especially they have this rewind feature so you can optimize everything to the last little detail you want. But in the previous games, because there was that time limit, you have that, stress of like, okay, I gotta, move along here a little quicker. And then the next time you play, you're like, okay, I get this now. Like maybe I can be a little bit better than the last time. And I think that is why it has a little bit less replayability, in my opinion, because you're not having to go back and optimize a second time through if you wanted to play
Right.
it a second time. But that's just
Uh,
my opinion.
yeah.
I'm sure that, maybe the viewers, if they've played it, they have their own opinions. So if you're watching and you have an opinion on Pikmin 4 that doesn't jive with ours, then let us know.
Yeah, let us know what's good.
We'll
Let us
bring up.
know if Henrik the Wreck and I are wrong.
I mean, maybe it's a repeat all day, every day for you.
But you were sort of fumbling the bag earlier. I have to hear it from you. Is it a pause or is it a repeat?
It is a pause for me.
Yeah.
I'd say, considering there's other games that have come out this year that I think draw my attention more, and I
Yeah.
would definitely repeat first before this one.
Yeah. I think you've heard the verdict from us.